Corey Comperatore, a 50-year-old firefighter, husband, and father of 2 daughters, remembered as a hero tonight. He had brought his family to the rally, and tonight his family says he died jumping onto his loved ones to protect them from the gunfire.
On July 13, 2024, a shocking event unfolded at a campaign rally for former President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. What started as a routine political gathering quickly turned tragic when a lone gunman opened fire on the crowd, attempting to assassinate the former president. In the chaos that ensued, one man's actions stood out as a shining example of courage and selflessness. Corey Comperatore, a 50-year-old firefighter and devoted family man, made the ultimate sacrifice that day. As gunshots rang out across the rally grounds, Comperatore's instincts as a first responder and loving father kicked in. Without hesitation, he used his own body to shield his daughters from the hail of bullets, ultimately giving his life to protect those he loved the most. While the assassination attempt on Trump failed, Comperatore's heroic actions in those terrifying moments have touched hearts across the nation. That fateful day.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
On July 13, 2024, what began as a fairly typical campaign event for former President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, quickly turned into a scene of chaos, carnage, and tragedy. As Trump addressed the crowd of thousands at the Butler Farm Show grounds, shots rang out at approximately 6:11 p.m. The gunman, later identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, had positioned himself on the roof of a building about 400 feet north of the stage. In the ensuing panic, one man's valiant actions stood out as a beacon of courage and selflessness. Corey Comperatore, a 50-year-old volunteer firefighter from nearby Sarver, was attending the rally with his family. As the shots rang out across the venue, Comperatore's instincts as both a first responder and a devoted father kicked in. According to eyewitnesses and statements from his family, Comperatore immediately dove onto his wife and daughters, using his body as a shield to protect them from the gunfire. This split-second decision ultimately cost him his life, but potentially saved those of his loved ones. In the aftermath, former President Trump was rushed to safety with a minor injury to his right ear. 2 other attendees, David Dutch, 57, and James Copenhaver, 74, were critically injured but later reported to be in stable condition. The gunman was quickly neutralized by a Secret Service sniper, bringing an end to the violence but leaving a community and a nation in shock. A life of service.
There's a guy with a smile that lit up a room, volunteered here for years, doing life-saving stuff for complete strangers, putting his life on the line.
To understand the magnitude of Corey's final act of heroism, we must look at the kind of life he led. A longtime resident of Sarver, Pennsylvania, Comperatore was known throughout his community as a man dedicated to God, service, and family. Professionally, he worked as a project and tooling engineer at a plastics manufacturing company, but it was his role as a volunteer firefighter that truly defined his commitment to the community. He served as the fire chief for the Buffalo Township Volunteer Fire Company, a position that spoke to his leadership skills and willingness to put others before himself. Craig Siriccioni, a fellow firefighter, remembered Corey fondly. Quote, "He's a great man that deserves honor and respect in the highest of high. He wouldn't want us to sit here and be sad. He would want us to share the good times and think of him." Randy Reamer, president of the fire company, echoed these sentiments, describing Comperatore as a stand-up guy and a true brother of the fire service. He added, "He definitely stood up for what he believed in, never backed down to anyone." But Corey's dedication extended far beyond his professional and volunteer work. He was, above all, a family man. Described by Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro as a girl dad, Comperatore was devoted to his wife Helen and their 2 daughters. He attended church every Sunday, embodying the values of faith and community. Neighbors remembered Comperatore as a friendly and helpful presence in their lives. Paul Hayden, who had known Comperatore for the better part of 20 years, emphasized how political differences never got in the way of their friendship. He knew I was a Biden fan. I knew he was a Trump fan, Hayden told NBC News. But we never let that come in between us. We'd still say hi to each other. We still talk to each other. Some people take it to the extreme. The moment of heroism.
This is not some game. This is not politics. A real human being lost their life. A family will never be able to see again. So this is a sad and tragic day.
As chaos and confusion erupted at the Trump rally, Corey's instincts and intuitions as a first responder and a father merged into one decisive action. Eyewitness accounts and statements from his family paint a picture of a split-second act of heroism that likely saved multiple lives. Allison Comperatore, Corey's daughter, provided a heart-wrenching account of her father's final moments on Facebook. Quote, "He threw my mom and I to the ground and shielded my body from the bullet that came at us." She described her father as the best dad a girl could ever ask for and said he had, quote, died a real-life superhero. Helen, Corey's wife, added a poignant note to her daughter's post. Quote, "What my precious girls had to witness is unforgivable. The trauma of the event was evident in her words, but so too was the pride in her husband's selfless act." Governor Josh Shapiro, in a press conference following the tragedy, emphasized the heroic nature of Comperatore's actions. "Corey died a hero. Corey dove on his family to protect them last night," Shapiro added. "Corey was the very best of us. May his memory be a blessing." Dr. Jim Sweetland, a retired emergency room doctor who attempted to administer CPR to Comperatore at the scene, shared his perspective on the tragic event. Quote, "I want to tell Comperatore's family your father died a hero," Sweetland told CNN. The doctor's words underscore the immediate recognition of Comperatore's bravery even in the chaotic aftermath of the shooting. Community response and remembrance.
I asked Corey's wife if it would be okay for me to share that we spoke, and she said yes. She also asked that I share with all of you that Corey died a hero, that Corey dove on his family to protect them last night at this rally. Corey was the very best of us.
In the days following the tragic event, the community rallied around the Comperatore family and the other victims of the shooting. The outpouring of support was immediate and overwhelming, reflecting the impact Corey had on those around him and the shock felt by the nation as a whole. At the Buffalo Township Volunteer Fire Company, Comperatore's firefighting gear was draped in black and displayed as a memorial. This simple yet powerful tribute spoke volumes about the respect and admiration his colleagues had for him. The fire station became a focal point for the community's grief and remembrance.
So many people have come together to contribute to two different GoFundMe accounts. One created for his daughter, Allison, was already raised more than $833,000, far surpassing the $7,000 goal set. And another GoFundMe created to support all the victims, which has been authorized by former President Trump, has already raised more than $3.5 million. Among the top donors listed are Kid Rock and the head of the UFC, Dana White.
A GoFundMe campaign was set up for the family and quickly gained traction, raising over $950,000 for more than 17,000 donations within days. This financial support, while unable to fill the void left by Corey's passing, demonstrated the community's desire to help his family in their time of need. Another GoFundMe campaign, organized by Meredith O'Rourke, a top finance person for the Trump campaign, aimed to support all victims of the shooting. This fund raised over $4 million from more than 54,000 donations. Governor Josh Shapiro ordered flags to be flown at half-staff in Comperatore's memory, a statewide recognition of his heroism and sacrifice. The gesture extended the mourning and remembrance beyond Corey's local community and to the entire state of Pennsylvania. Local politicians, regardless of party affiliation, united in their praise of Comperatore and their condemnation of the violence. State Representative Marcy Mustella's statement reflected the nonpartisan nature of the tragedy and the universal recognition of Comperatore's heroism. The community's response to the tragedy demonstrated the best of human nature in the face of senseless violence. It showed how a single act of heroism can inspire thousands to come together in support, remembrance, and a renewed commitment to the values of community and service that Corey Comperatore exemplified throughout his life. Now it's time to hear from you. How can we honor the memory of heroes like Corey in our daily lives? Let us know in the comments section below.